I'm incredibly threatened by AI. I think it's coming and it's tsunami-like. I have lived in a cell, effectively, for 6 months.
Welcome to Blueprint, Expo City Dubai's podcast, uncovering the future of how we live, work, and thrive. Join us for candid conversations with changemakers, urban innovators, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and creatives. From smart cities and sustainability to culture, business, wellness, and community, we explore the ideas driving tomorrow's world. Welcome to this first episode of Blueprint.
It is crystal clear. We're living in the transformative era of generative AI, reshaping every part of our lives. But in media terms, this is also the age of the podcast, because as the news we consume becomes ever more bite-sized, podcasts create space for deeper stories and more considered, insightful discussions. A much-needed antidote to the tsunami of social media noise and digital clickbait. That's why we decided to launch Blueprint, Expo City Dubai's podcast, where we bring together curious minds and big thinkers to share bold ideas, real stories, and have informed conversations about what is next in those places which enhance all of our lives, and that is cities. Something that is very close to our heart of our first Blueprint guest. Georgia Tolley, international MC, moderator of global events spanning the tech and finance sectors, ex-BBC, and now host of the Agenda programme every weekday morning on Dubai Eye 103.8. And most importantly, a long-time and very informed media commentator on the life and times of Expo 2020 Dubai. Georgia, a big welcome to the very first episode of Blueprint.
Thank you very much. I feel rather honoured. It has to be said. So thank you for having me.
So, Georgia, to kick things off,
Yes.
I would love to know, how does it feel to be on the other side of the microphone for once?
Feels weird. Very weird. I suppose I shouldn't be nervous because officially I can't get the answers wrong, can I? So we can, it's just my views, so we should be all right. But no, it's quite fun to be on the other side.
With Expo 2025 underway in Osaka, it's a good opportunity to look back at Expo 2020, but through your eyes. And perhaps you could give us a sense of what it was like to be one of the key media reporters and commentators who tracked the 8-year journey of Expo, but was also broadcasting live from a studio throughout the event.
I was working for the national newspaper at the time, and I think of my own bat, the morning that it opened, I think it was a Saturday morning, I got up stupidly early, and I was literally one of the first people in the door.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't have my cameraman with me at the time. The idea was that we were going to do lots of filming, and I was going to do it live. None of us really knew how that was going to work. And so what I actually did was I held my iPhone out in front of my face, which influencers do all the time, but I'd never really done. I'm quite a sort of belts and braces journalist. I like things to look a certain way. So I've never really done it like that. And I went live, and for the rest of the day, we did everything live. And I don't know if you know this, but the tour that we did of the Pakistan Pavilion went viral. It was sent, so we had more than 1.3 million views that day of the Pakistan Pavilion. And it got sent to the Prime Minister separately, by 5 different people sent that to him within an hour's period. And as a consequence, I was invited back to the Pakistan Pavilion the next day for a very sort of official ceremony where I was officially thanked. And I was a bit like, no, it was totally genuine. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And we were running around, again, slightly amok, but with a cameraman. And it was an incredibly exciting first day.
But you said one word there, which I think really captured it, which is magical.
Yeah.
And we didn't I think in many ways, you got to the end of Expo, and when it closed, you realized just what an extraordinary 182 days it was. If we jump forward 18 months, so Expo closed in March 31st, 2022.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Yes, I know.
Pub quiz question.
Yeah, exactly. But then 18 months later, the city experienced another spell in the media spotlight when the UAE was host to COP28 climate conference. So did you play a media role in COP28? And do you think that hosting COP28 enhanced Expo City's reputation and profile on the global stage?
I mean, yes, I have to say it had a pretty special place on the global stage already. To then have COP28, and it was a really important COP. Like everyone knew, it was the one that came after Paris. After Paris, it was the most important COP.
A landmark.
Real landmark. We needed a decision. You could see climate change was starting all around us. We all thought it was going to happen in our children's lifetimes. Not the case. Clearly happening right now. And there was this sense that the whole world was coming. And my goodness me, the whole world did come. And the site was just perfect for it. Because, of course, you had all these sustainable credentials that we'd all heard so much about. You have Terra. You can see it. It is a garden city. There's trees everywhere. There's birdsong. It's a genuinely pedestrianised area. This isn't lip service. You walk everywhere.
It was central casting for a COP site.
It's kind of like you built it for it.
Yeah.
I don't wonder how much planning there was going on. But
Don't know.
Yeah. It was like these things on the public stage are sort of planned quite far in advance, I think. And what was brilliant about the Expo site was that there was space for everyone. So not just the governments, but all the sort of non-governmental organisations. Protesters were allowed. Everyone said they wouldn't be. They were. There was a space for them. We joyously, as journalists, filmed them every day. No one stopped us. It was the biggest. I think you had more people at this COP than you'd ever had at any other COP, and obviously the one since. And there's no taking away from the fact that it was a good news story. They got a result. And I don't think it can be a coincidence that we invited the world in, and then a few years later, the world came.
I'd like to move on to think about the longer term impact of Expo. How do you see, as a journalist, the lasting impact of Expo 2020 in terms of Dubai's role and reputation?
I think probably beforehand, Dubai was seen as a bit of a frivolous place. I think a glamorous place, somewhere you'd go to for sun, sea, sand, shopping, lots of shopping, spending money, ephemeral and without sort of depth or seriousness or thoughtfulness. And of course, we can't hide that it's a petrochemical state. Some people would argue, I would reword that, but its major export is oil and gas. Let's put it that way.
In terms of the UAE.
In terms of the UAE, less so Dubai, of course, yeah. And I think as a consequence of Expo, there was more of a sort of cultural leaning. And I think we were also seen as even more than we already were as a home for the world. Expo provided pavilions for every single nation. And I met them because my job was to go round and go to each tiny little pavilion and find out what the island of Tuvalu, brought to the world stage. And I think that really did give the impression that Dubai could be home to everyone. And of course, due to interesting geopolitical situations after that, it did indeed become the home to lots of people. Yeah. And as a consequence, house prices have shot up. And there's a lot of traffic on the roads. Yeah. But a lot of people have come to Dubai. And I don't think it can be a coincidence that we invited the world in. And then a few years later, the world came.
So now, Expo City boasts next to us a new airport, which is by mid-2030 is going to be the biggest airport in the world. Yeah. We have a sprawling exhibition hall, Dubai Exhibition Centre.
Which you measure in kilometres.
1.2 kilometres long.
Yes, which I love.
And we have our own metro station.
Yeah. So I don't want to poo-poo the whole smart city thing, because I know it's a big thing for you guys. I don't think anyone really knows what that means.
So everyone in Dubai knows how important the hosting of major events, conferences and trade shows are to the city. And the Dubai World Trade Center in downtown hosts some of the world's most significant international events. Many of those are going to be moving to the Dubai Exhibition Center right here in Dubai from 2026 onwards. How do you think that is going to impact Expo City? What do you think it's going to mean for downtown? How is the kind of dynamics of Dubai going to change when something as significant as the home of major events starts to transition south?
It's going to be brilliant because the traffic up there is an absolute nightmare. Like you can't, when GITEX, which is the big tech event that they host out here, when literally, as far as I can tell, the entire tech world arrives and descends on the centre of Dubai, you can't move. Like, for everyone says, take the tube, take the metro, take public transport. One of the ways of doing it is to bring the event space out here to an area that can handle it. Metro station, boom, loads of main roads, boom, loads of parking, boom, huge event space. Just as long as you get the F&B right, we'll all be happy.
Georgia, for many years now, there's been much talk about the concept of smart cities, which use technology to function more efficiently. And we at Expo are seeking to be at the forefront of this journey by embracing the power of AI.
Okay.
But my question looks at this from a different angle. Do you think cities can be differentiated by technology, or will they always be defined and characterized as places of culture, of romance, entertainment, and life-enhancing experiences?
Okay, so I don't want to poo-poo the whole smart city thing because I know it's a big thing for you guys. I don't think anyone really knows what that means yet. I genuinely don't. I mean, to me, it means really fast internet. Yes, please. Maybe it means that I can, pay for my parking with a press of the button. Maybe. To be honest, I still, I work in, I mean, a number of times I've used the phrase smart cities on the radio. So yes, that's convenient and helpful. And I think maybe I'm not quite of the generation for whom being super environmentally friendly is the be all and end all. So for me, the smart city thing is nice. Now I've understood it. But really for me, what I love about Expo City is the landscaping. I keep on coming back to it. It's the garden state environment. I mean, we're in the desert, so obviously it's not like verdant, but it is green. I know that those two words mean the same thing. So it's not lush and verdant, but it is beautiful. There are trees, there are plants, there are animals, there are little oases, there are great places for the kids to play. It's totally walkable. And you don't realise how cool that is until you take the cars away. And all of a sudden, no one's reversing into you. They're not parking on top of you. And it makes such a difference that you don't have vehicles around here. And I know it's hot, but you've sorted that out by putting the parking underneath and you can pop up like a gnome or a mole into, wherever you want to be. So for me, that's more important about the city. I talked before about for the conferences, you need to, as long as there's great F&B, it's the same if you live here, as long as there's nice coffee shops for you to walk to, because you need to have a focal point. Maybe a few nice shops, that would be good too. The parks are key for kids. And then there's the sort of cultural element, which you guys have won already because you've got our Wassail Dome, which is where you're going to host these mega events, and you've done a few already amazing sort of cool DJ-led scenarios that were probably too cool for me. So it has the ingredients. So yeah, your smart thing's nice, but really is the other stuff that I get excited about, to be honest. Yeah.
You've really captured so much of what the city is today and how we transition from being a global event space into a place that you can live and work. But we recently unveiled our sort of master plan, and that targets 40,000 working professionals and 35,000 residents over the next 4 to 5 years. How do you kind of see the next step of its life?
If someone had asked me years ago to visualize the marina, I wouldn't have been able to. I mean, you're talking about a staggering scale. And we know it can happen because it's happened before in many places in Dubai. We know that the ingredients are there. Like you literally, again, quite hard to argue with all of the fact that the new Palm is being built just down the road as well. You did have this amazing sort of kickstart, where there was a vision and everyone sat down and you got the brightest minds and everyone sat down and went, it's going to look like this. And I think potentially the other areas might not be developed with the same level of thoughtfulness and care. And you were going to be on the world stage, so you wanted to make it look really good, and you did. And so therefore, I think potentially it could be one of the nicest bits in the future because of all the thought that went into it.
And if you looked at the map of where Expo was going to be, it would have been in the middle of nowhere.
It was the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Totally the middle of nowhere. I felt like it was in the middle of nowhere till about 5 years ago. And then post-COVID, I thought it was in the middle of nowhere until COVID. And then post-COVID, the world moved here. And all of a sudden, it's not the middle of nowhere anymore.
So if you look at that map in 2013,
Yeah.
and now you look at the map today,
Yeah.
and then if you jump forward another 8-10 years, it's going to be a huge conurbation, really.
There might be some fluctuations over that decade, potentially. I think it would be incredibly unusual if the trajectory that we have seen in Dubai just continues without any sway or any blip. If it keeps on going like this, I think it will be the first place in the world that has ever done that in any economic cycle ever. And maybe it will. Whoever does it first wins.
Georgia, I'm going to wrap things up with a few short, sharp questions.
Okay.
Your first thoughts that come to mind.
Okay.
At heart, Georgia, are you a city lover or a countryside dweller?
City, grew up in the countryside. I know how boring it is.
If not Dubai, which city in the world would you most like to live in?
Oh, okay, so that's difficult because I have, in the last month, very fortunately travelled to both Tokyo and Hong Kong with work. And I have to say, I fell in love with both cities for the first 24 hours and then kind of went off the boil after a bit.
But Dubai is home now.
Yeah, kids have grown up here. And I think that's something that expats wonder about all the time, like, because you've made a choice to move here, right? And I think that that's the extraordinary thing about living in Dubai is that each and every one of us can ask ourselves that question every single day, and yet none of us leaves.
AI. I know it's one of your favourite subjects.
My favourite subject.
For you, threatening or liberating, and for your kids, daunting or something they're just going to have to deal with?
I'm incredibly threatened by AI. However, I think if we pull our socks up, we've still got time to ride the wave. But I think we really need to pull our socks up. I think it's coming and it's tsunami-like. And I think it's going to be really scary. My children, I think, are young enough for it to be okay. They're 10 and 12. I think if they were just leaving school or just leaving university, I would be really, really scared for their future.
Dubai is always looking to be one step ahead. What do you think the city's next big breakthrough or next big focus should be?
Quantum computing. Yeah. It's next. It's coming. So the problem with quantum computing is that they're creating, if you don't know about it, which I know you probably do, but for people who don't know about it.
Well, kind of.
So the deal is at the moment, so when quantum computing comes along, it's going to be able to destroy every form of security coding that we have at the moment. And it's expected the quantum revolution is supposed to happen in 2030. They think it's possible that some countries might succeed in creating quantum computing by 2028. Whoever does it first wins.
Wow, that's a sobering thought, but you're suggesting that Dubai should take the lead on it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, wouldn't be surprised they already were.
Yeah. Last questions. Do you have a personal motto by which you live?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yes, I could do that one. Carpe diem. It's Latin for seize the day. There's a couple of very good reasons for why I have that phrase. One is I learned it at school. It was my school motto. So that's cheating. So I should have told you that. I should have pretended it came from my own brain, but it didn't. The second one was I have had, in my personal life, my youngest son was very ill for a short amount of time. And I had to live for 6 months in a hospital room. He's fine now. Life continues. It's all great. But I have lived in a cell, effectively, for 6 months. And I tell you something, once you've done that for a while, you don't let any opportunity pass you by.
Georgia, very, very moving end to a fascinating discussion. You've talked about you personally seizing the day.
Yeah.
We've talked about Dubai seizing the day in many ways. And we've discussed how Expo City has seized the day in terms of building on what Expo 2020 delivered for the UAE. And I'm really grateful for you being our first guest. It's been fascinating and really moving, and wonderful to have such a, powerful long-term friend of the city come and share with us your memories and recollections.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Georgia.
Do I get a free house?
Yes. Well, maybe an apartment.